We're back for Breakthrough Counseling Services, and here we are for the Ride the Wave and Cross the Bridge Together program, our resolution program. As you can see, I brought my surfboard with me, and I'm a surfer as well because I have to do a lot of riding the wave on the different waves, the big, small, and medium waves. So get your surfboards. Of course, you're not going to bring out a real surfboard, but this is just, the reason I use this is an objective tool. And what it does is it takes your thoughts and what you focus on all the time, especially if you have anxiety, and it makes you think about, it's a way to distract you to think about the board that you're having to balance on. So imagine that you don't have to focus anymore on if you're going to have a heart attack, a stroke, if you're going to die, if you're going to faint, if you're going to go crazy, go out of control. You don't have to worry about that anymore, because now you can think about the board, and this is going to help you in an objective way. Not so much as a distraction, but more so as a way to use a new way of thinking. So what we do here at Breakthrough Counseling is cognitive therapy. We use cognitive tools, and what that means is thinking, processing, new ways to do that. Now here in front of me you can see I've got some lighthouses. We're not going to do a lesson on lighthouses. Instead, what I'm going to show you is the nervous system. Now here, the big guy here, I love lighthouses, I collect them. So I thought, why not use this as a great example? This is the limbic system. This is the big guy. This limbic system controls the entire nervous system and our emotional responses. This guy, the limbic system, what it does is it communicates to the other systems in the nervous system. And so it regulates, depending on what you're going through, it's going to communicate to some of these others. We have the thalamus, and then we've got the amygdala. Now, what we're going to do is take away these two, and I'm going to take away this one for a moment, and I'm going to focus on these two. These are twins. They're 2 in 1. It's called the amygdala. That lighthouse right there, those two work in unison, and the reason they are together is because they're protecting you. This is a system that has been designed to protect you. So we're going to change our focus from an anxiety disorder. The first tool I'm going to give you today is to think about your condition, not disorder, as one being controlled by these lighthouses right here. These lighthouses are designed to help protect you and from any danger. Something could be life-threatening or a threat. When one of those happen, a danger, something life-threatening or a threat to you, they're going to be activated within a millisecond. The limbic system is going to charge, it's going to activate, and it's going to go to work to do one thing and one thing only, to protect you. It's going to guide you. It's a good thing. So I want to change your mindset now about anxiety. Now you're going to see me write anxiety on my page, because that's going to attract people when they see help for anxiety and help for depression. But we're going to stop labeling ourselves as being a disorder. So today we have a new way to address anxiety, new way to address depression. We're going to call anxiety a condition. We're going to do away with the labels and the codes they put on you, and instead we're going to use what's called here a condition. It is anxiety, that's the word we use, but what it really is a dysregulated nervous system. That's it. It's an overactive nervous system. It's a nervous system that has been hijacked by outer events and inner events. It could be you, the way you're thinking. It could be the way you respond to things and the way you perceive things. And then sometimes it's our outer environment that's controlling our inner environment. If you could understand that right there, that the dysregulation is happening from either an inner source of me, the way I perceive and interpret things, and the way I react, and outer environment, the outer world, influencing us, you will see a whole new world on how anxiety works within your life, how it works within your domain, in your environment. So you have an overactive nervous system. What's happening is, at times, maybe not every single time, because most of us can handle the little nuances. May have a little anxiety. You're in traffic, you didn't get money you were expecting, you can't pay a bill. Those are nuances. Those are little things. The kids might be bugging you. They're loud, obnoxious. People in stores. There's a whole list of things that can dysregulate us. All right, I call them triggers. There are people who can trigger us. That does not mean that you have an anxiety disorder just because you feel anxiety and other emotions. And by the way, sometimes we get caught up in just one condition. It may not even be anxiety. It could just be frustration. It could be underlying anger, and you're feeling the feelings of anger. You're feeling the tension, the blood flowing. You feel like knocking somebody out. You feel like telling somebody something. That doesn't mean that's anxiety. Or it could be a social event. Maybe you have to speak in front of someone. It could be something you have to do at work in front of people. There's all different things, but I'm here to tell you that those are not disorders. There are people who have disorders, and they could be innate, something that you're born with, genetic, and it could be a chemical imbalance. I don't want to call it disorder. I want them to call them medical conditions that can be treated. So let's change our focus and stop putting labels on ourselves from the DSM, that's the Diagnostic Statistical Manual, that's been there for decades, diagnosing people, putting labels on them. Well, then people feel a stigma, and they feel like they have this label forever. A disorder seems like you can't ever fix it. I'm here to tell you, you can. You can get back to normal with your anxiety and your depression. Now, for depression, a little different. Depression, we call it lower feelings. Your feelings are lowered, your immune system is lowered, and people are not in a good mood. People are sad. It could be sadness. It could be disappointment, discouragement. So let's not just use the word depression and then we have a label and think, well, there's something wrong with me. I'm either crazy or I'm just abnormal. I'm just a sad person, that can't function in society. No, I don't want you to operate that way. There are people who have legitimate medical conditions. It's clinical depression that we would call something very serious. And it's all serious, however, but clinical depression does need medical intervention. I'm not a medical doctor. I'm a licensed counselor. I'm a certified counselor. I'm also a natural health practitioner. I'm certified as a natural health practitioner and holistic practitioner. So we treat the natural methods when you do have these conditions. But if you're being treated by a medical doctor, make sure you keep seeing them. Your mental health professional. This is not a substitute for them. This is a scaffold, a support, a catalyst to help you get back to being regulated. Okay? So don't stop your treatment, but this is going to work as we're partnering with you and your practitioner as well, and your medical doctors. So what we want to do, I brought a light to show you something. Along with this amygdala, we need some help, because this thing, when it activates, most of you know what I'm talking about. When this activates, it's going to get you ready to run or to take action. You're either going to stay put and defend yourself, defend your home, defend your car, defend your children, defend whatever it is that's precious to you, important to you, or it's going to be too much and you're going to run. And these amygdala here, the amygdala, is set up to do that for you, to do one or the other. But here's the problem. In our society, it gets hijacked, and we act as if there's danger and threats for little things, like I said earlier, nuances, okay? So here's the thing. I'm going to show you something. This will change your whole perspective. You have a traffic light here, and we've got the color red, yellow, and green. Now, this is generalized anxiety. This is for people, the green is for people who just normal, what I call the ebb and flow. People go through this, go through life, and these are the everyday things that we have to deal with. That's not abnormal. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to call it that it's very normal and very average. Now, when things get a little tougher, when the weight is on, when the wave increases, there's more of a load, more of a demand. So the anxiety or even the depression could set in at a higher level. So we have you on the yellow here. Both of these levels, you can function. With the tools that I'm giving you, the tools you have, some of the ones you have, you can go from here to here within a day, within a few days, or maybe some weeks it takes, because some of you have been experiencing this for a long time, and some of you maybe just starting. But we can get you from here to here quickly with the tools that I'm going to give you, the cognitive tools. The red, it's in the red. It's for a reason. These are hijacked. These are staying on, and they are hijacking you because they think that you are in danger. So it's going to create a cascade of adrenaline, of epinephrine. It's going to set off a continuous flight of cortisol. All these chemicals are going to flow through your body. You're going to get blood from your stomach, your brain. It's going to go to your muscles. You're going to feel sweaty, tight. You're going to get all sorts of symptoms. But I don't want you to be afraid of those. I want you to know that those are God-given tools. Those are chemicals that you have. Those are things inside of you to help you. And one of the problems we have in our society is it gets hijacked for little things, and we make them dangers or threats. But we should be able to handle our everyday things without becoming dysfunctional, dysregulated. So I want to get you back. If you're listening to this and you're not really in a state of fear, anxiety, if you don't have distress, you're overstressed, you're burnt out, you can help someone else. You can show them this video. You can use the tools I'm going to give you and help them. But if you're needing the intervention, this is for you. If you've been suffering with anxiety and depression, we're going to walk together with you in this channel to help you get regulated again. Back to normal, your normal self where you used to be, feeling confident, feeling secure in yourself. If we can get you doing those two things, feeling confident in yourself and secure, then you're on your way. You won't even need me because you're going to use the tools and you can always come back. What you have, my friend, is a very vivid imagination. A lot of this is problematic when you start imagining things that aren't real. You imagine that you're going to collapse mentally. You might fear you might collapse physically. We call those the twin fears. So you say, well, what if I go crazy? What if I have a tumor? What if I have a stroke? What if there's something wrong with my brain? And you start to fear the brain, that you have a brain disorder. You start to fear that something's wrong with your brain. And that gets stuck. And if this message from the limbic system and from the prefrontal cortex and the other systems, if they communicate to them, they're going to work in your favor. That's what they're designed to do. You don't have a curse on you. This is not an evil thing. It becomes evil. I don't want to use the word evil. It becomes difficult and counterproductive when they get hijacked. When you interpret things wrong and you put in a false information to the amygdala. When you give it false information, it's going to still react as if it's true. So we're going to walk over the bridge step by step. The first tool I'm going to give you to start getting these guys to relax. This is all they are. They're just a lighthouse. They're a lighthouse in your brain. And look, they're doing this. Right now as we speak, they're scanning. If everything's good and you feel confident and secure, they're going to turn off. The lighthouse is going to turn off. We want these off. We don't want these on all day long, 8 hours a day, 12 hours a day, 24 hours a day. And this is what's happening with our society. And that's a very uncomfortable feeling, to be in what I call a state of threat, a state of vigilance, and here it is, hypervigilance. That's what leads to these chemicals and you feeling uncomfortable, and eventually that wave is going to go up and you're not going to like it. And you want to get out of that state. So unfortunately, people use things that are not healthy. They use coping mechanisms that are problematic and they're unhealthy for you. Things like drinking, pills, drugs, anything to get you to stop feeling that way. It could be fear, it could be anger, it could be something that's making you feel uncomfortable. So we want to get these guys to turn their lights off. One of the ways I've done that is called the Big Bear effect. Okay, so what it is the Big Bear effect is jolting your nervous system. If you've ever been startled by a little dog or a big dog, well, if it's a pit bull or a Rottweiler, you're going to be scared, and there's a reason to be. The dog could harm you. It could bite you, or more serious, right? So you should have these guys turn on instantly. By the way, they turn on in a millisecond. That's how much protection you have. Within a millisecond, they turn on if they see something dangerous. What's great about our brains, if we don't get the nervous system turned on and all the chemicals, we're able to rationalize. And within a few seconds say, oh, that was just nothing dangerous. That was just the dog, or he's a friendly dog. And then you don't get scared. The bark may have scared you, but then once you realize it's a friendly dog. The little dog, you're not so much afraid. You can kick that thing down the road, right? That's what we want to decipher. What is dangerous and what is not? Okay? Now, that's for people who get fearful and then they get anxiety, people who have trauma, things like that. The nervous system is turned on. What about people who get activated by other people, by circumstances, by individuals, in relationships? It can happen as well. If you're in a bad relationship, yeah, you're going to turn on your nervous system as well. Because the nervous system knows when you're happy and not happy. It knows when you're at peace and settled and when you're not. So every day we're working on getting on our surfboards and making sure that we're balancing these waves. We have small waves and we have big waves. So let's go back to our Big Bear effect. I want you to pretend right now that there's a bear behind you. Big black bear is going to jolt you. Now, don't turn around. Don't look around. The second you hear that, if we weren't in this class right now, in this session, let's say it really was real, and someone yelled at you and said, there's a bear behind you. Well, is it true or not? So you are going to, at first, jolt. Say, is there really a bear behind me? Let's say it's a stranger that says it to you. You're going to be jolted, and then, boom, there it goes. Lighthouse goes on. The nervous system's activated. If it's really a bear, all these things should kick in to get you either to run or fight the bear. You probably are not going to fight the bear. So you're going to use the system to run. That's a good thing. That's what it's designed for. But what if it is a prank? Or what if you thought it was, and they're convincing you there's something there, and you're still activated? That's problematic. Because it's a false alarm. And that's what we have to be after. Okay? These false alarms happen with domestic situations. It happens at work. And it happens in our imagination. You create a sense of danger with your imagination. So what you do is immediately you turn around, you look around, you survey, you go, there's no bear there. And within seconds you can relax. But what if it really was something dangerous? What if a burglar was at your window? Imagine that. Your nervous system would kick in right away. We call it the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. Now, which one you think kicks in when there's danger or threat? The sympathetic nervous system. It's sympathizing to what you need. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful design within your system. But we need to use it, watch this, for real emergencies, not for trivial domestic stuff. We don't start getting crazy and doing crazy things when they're minor, trivial things. The lady at the grocery store, the guy driving behind you, like I said, the annoying neighbor, the nosy neighbor. All these domestic things are trivial compared to your health, to your physical and mental health. What I'm here to do with breakthrough counseling, I've committed 30 years of doing this, and I've gotten really good at it over the years, helping people, is to get you back regulated and living your normal life. If we can do that, then you've had your breakthrough. That's what breakthrough counseling is all about. So going back to the big bear, it is the same thing. Now, I want to show you something that's incredible. This is a miracle. In my hand, I have 2 almonds. You see that there? We go a little closer. That is the size of them. They stand together. They're together in your brain. They're in the deep part of your brain. All right? They're little almond shaped right there. And what they do is those little guys are responsible for all that you feel. Now, for those that are in the green light, you've got it together, but you still need the help, because depending on your personality type, if you're a type A, you're still going to react to people. I need you to start responding. You don't have a condition, but maybe you're putting yourself in these anxiety, feeling things, you're feeling it, you're provoking your nervous system. And then you can recover pretty fast. But the tools are going to help you. What about the people in the yellow and in the red? Then you really need help to get these guys to shut off. Okay, so the big bear effect is to do this. So you stop creating false alarms. There is no bear in the room. And once you realize that, you can start relaxing. And once your nervous system relaxes, you are good to go. All right, so we want to prevent the adrenaline, the cortisol, the epinephrine, all those things, the catecholamines, from being activated. It is very unhealthy. I want to tell you this so you're motivated. After our video, you start thinking about this. It is very unhealthy to stay in that state all the time. You're going to have digestion problems. You're going to have heart problems, blood pressure problems. You're going to have sleep problems, focus, attention problems, and you're going to be distracted. You're going to be obsessed with the symptoms you feel. You're going to be obsessed with people and problems when they bring them to you. You have to have alternatives to people when they bug you, when they create problems around you, when there's toxic people, dysfunctional people. You have to have an alternative. Okay, so the 2 I'm going to leave you with today is to learn to ride the wave. Your new label is surfer. Remember our first video, you are a surfer. You're going to get on this board. A surfer has fear, and they go out anyway. They start to paddle. For those of you in the red, in the green, I need you to do small waves first. You need to get through little waves. Balance on the board and get through the wave. Here's what I want you to know. This is very powerful. While you're on that surfboard, the tide goes up, the wave goes up, and watch this, it comes back down. Every situation that you're in, every feeling that you feel, whether it's anger, frustration, anxiety, whatever it is, tension, it goes like this, and then it comes back down. That's why I created the Ride the Wave program. To let you know that you're not stuck here. You are not in a disorder. You're going to come down if you work with these guys, with the limbic system, and stop activating it for false alarms. And that is in every feeling that you have. All feelings rise and all feelings fall. So the surfboard is just a reminder. Watch. This is so that you stop obsessing about your symptoms and about yourself, and you start focusing on balancing this thing. I use it all the time. It's amazing. And so that the people that trigger you, the people around you, you don't go to default and start doing what you used to do before. Now you're going to react. You're going to get angry. You're going to say something you didn't mean to say. You're going to isolate. You're going to retreat and not talk to people. You're going to be passive aggressive. Okay, you're going to go for wine, for beer, for marijuana. You're going to do something that is counterproductive. Now, I want to give you coping skills at work. This works. You just have to be patient. You have to get on there. Now, for those of you that are in the green, you can handle the bigger waves. You know, kudos to you. That's very good. But I also want to help those that need the smaller waves. Okay, so that's going to be our first intervention. The second one is the big bear effect, to stop reacting to false alarms. Not everything is dangerous. Not everything is an emergency. Here's a phrase that I want you to take with you. Don't create urgency where there's no emergency. You don't need to be activating this baby, your heart getting pumped, your blood pressure going up, you know, your hands are tight, you're sweaty. You don't want to do that for someone that aggravates you for something trivial. Okay, so the next tool, the intervention here, is going to be what I call the response reaction scale. We're going to think of 3 simple numbers so you don't overreact to people, situations, and circumstances. So we're going to keep repeating this on every video. Number 1, the number 1 is trivial. You don't need to take action. You got it under control. There are people around you. There's situations happening around you, but you got it. You're in the green light. Okay, there's no reason for you to react. That's a 1. When you start getting to 2, 3, maybe something happened, but you can handle it. You're still in the green. 5 is a threat. I'm going to bring the light back out, okay? Let's bring the light back out. So a 1 is the green. You can handle it. When you get to 3, 4, 5, now you're in a threat. But it's not, there's no big bear there. This is where you're going to scan. These guys are going to work in your favor. The lighthouse is going to turn on. Is it a threat or is it not? Okay, most domestic situations are not, unless there's violence there. You can handle them. So this is where you now can decide. You have a choice. Can I handle it, or is someone else in control? Is there danger? Is this critical? Is this an emergency? Probably not. Most of these you can work down to a 1. A 10 is red. We are in the red now. It is life-threatening. You need to take action. If you don't take action, you can lose your life. It is that serious. This, you need to activate these guys. This, you don't need to activate them. If you can understand this here, then you start to know when to respond and when to react. Now watch this. Respond. Possible respond reaction, depending. If it goes here, reaction. If it goes here, you respond. You're in control. If it goes from here to here, the circumstances are in control of you. You don't have control of it. Tornado, a car accident, somebody is robbing you, okay, somebody wants to fight, threaten you. This is serious. This is a 911. Okay? To put it even more in perspective, this is a headache, this is a migraine, this is a stroke. Which one of these would you call 911 for? That's how we put it in perspective. The little nuances, you don't call 911 if you have a headache. Imagine that you were to call the police or emergency and say to the operator, I have a headache, send the paramedics. That's not an emergency. Now you call, you say, I have a migraine. Send the fire department. And you alert everybody in your house, I have a migraine, it's emergency. It may feel like it, but it's not to summons an emergency. It's not critical. If you're having a stroke, yeah, you better call 911. This is how we approach people in life. Just like that. We put it in perspective. And when the brain knows that, the cerebral cortex knows that, it will respond accordingly. As you stop getting the big bear effect and thinking that everything is dangerous and everything's an alarm. Okay, so let's close with that. I think that's a good start. Quick review. You're not labeled anymore. You don't have a disorder. What you have is a dysregulated immune system, a dysregulated nervous system, and it's an overactive nervous system. We got to get it back settled down. We got to get it back at peace. Okay, we have to get it into the parasympathetic nervous system where everything's good, like the way you probably feel right now, listening to me. There's no threat. There's nothing for you to jump up and down. Unless you are in a state, then use my tools, okay? Let's get you back down to the yellow and the green. The next thing is that you have an overactive imagination. So we've got to get the noggin here to think clear thoughts, rational thoughts. Catch yourself thinking something that isn't true. Catch yourself. Ask yourself questions. Is this true what I'm thinking? Am I really going to have a nervous breakdown? Am I going to have a physical collapse? Use foresight and hindsight. How did I handle it before? How did I do it before? And what's going to happen later on in the day? Am I going to be home with my family, my kids? Is everything going to be okay? Yeah, it probably will. Okay, unless you're in jail or somewhere sunken in a boat in the sea, you're going back home. And that's where I need you. To feel confident, to feel secure. Once you do that, listen, your nervous system will settle down. The next thing is that these guys are working all together in unison. The limbic system is the big guy. That's the big brother. Over here you have the sisters helping. Thalamus, the cerebral cortex, the thalamus, and then you have the amygdala. All these brain systems are here designed to help you. Then we have our surfboard, where you manage the small waves. That surfer is going out despite the fear. They're going to face the wave. And what they're going to do is get on the board, and they're going to manage it, and they're going to try to come back to shore. That's where I want to get you, back to shore safely. The bigger waves is going to take more tools and skills as we build this program. And then finally, the big bear effect. Start reacting to situations that don't need to be reacted as emergencies. Don't create urgency where there's no emergency. Use the red, yellow, and green. See where you are. Okay? And then the 1, 5, 10. If your neighbor's nosy and he's just saying things or looking over at you, that's not a 10. Okay? Leave that for real emergencies. So if he's not saying anything to you, that's not a threat. If he's looking at you, that's not a threat. That's an overreaction. And the way you can respond is to say, this is not an emergency, I'm not going to react and get my nervous system. For what reason? Okay, you're going to cut off your thinking, your rational thinking is going to cut off, you're going to get into reptilian brain, you're going to get into survival. That's another thing I wanted to mention to you, that we don't want you to stay in survival anymore. No more. Let's get you back domesticated. You're not a wild animal. Okay, you're not searching for food. Hopefully, God forbid, you're not. And things are going to work out. God's going to provide everything for you. You're going to have everything you need at the end of the day. So you're not a wild animal. Okay? So we are domesticated human beings, and we need to act that way. Civil, diplomatic, treating others with respect, try to judgment on yourself, love yourself, and accept yourself. Okay, so that's our session for today. Dr. DelValle from Breakthrough Counseling Services. I can't wait to keep helping you. We're going to get you back on your surfboards. And I'll tell you what, it's going to be a great ride. Great ride riding that wave. Keep riding your waves on your surfboards. You are surfers now. And you have a new label. Okay, a new one. It's a great one. It's you being a professional surfer. I can't wait. Well, I'll see you in the next session. Thank you for joining us today. Have a great day, great afternoon, or night, wherever you are.